Greetings, Cleveland. This is Genice's Gems, and I'm Janice Manning, part of St. Martin Deporres Corporate Work Study Program, interning at TV20 We Are Cleveland. Today, my guest is the Athletic Director of St. Martin Deporres, James Crawford. What's up, AD Crawford?
How you doing?
I'm good. So, tell us about your background. Let's start there.
So like you said, my name is James Crawford. I was born and raised Cleveland, Ohio. I graduated from St. Edward High School. When I left St. Edward High School, I went to Marietta College. I was playing basketball at the time. Ended up transferring back home to John Carroll, where I ended up getting my undergrad. Graduated there with a degree in physical education. Once I left John Carroll, I started working at St. Martin Deporres High School, where I'm still at now, where you attend. So once I left there, I became the physical education teacher here at St. Martin Deporres High School. During my time as being the physical education teacher, I ended up going back, getting my master's in athletic administration from the great Ohio University. That which, took me on to becoming the athletic director here at St. Martin Deporres High School. A big part of my background was sports, and, I was a basketball player. Played 3 years at St. Ed's. I played 1 year at Marietta College. I was going to play at John Carroll, but because of transfer rules, I had to sit out. And that's when I got into coaching. And during my years when I set out, I went back to coach at my high school at St. Edward High School. I was the head freshman basketball coach there for 6 years. And that kind of is what sparked my interest in, getting into the administration side of athletics. If it wasn't for me coming back home, me going back home to my high school and seeing the ins and outs and the behind the scenes tasks and things of, what goes on with sports, that's what, propelled me into, becoming an athletic director.
So why was sports such a big part of your life growing up?
So sports was a big part of my life because I loved competition. And for me, competition is just, it brings out the best in me. And I think that is what I like to tell, young student athletes that, you have to work for things. If you're got a tough opponent coming up, you got a game plan for it, just like in life. When it comes to, academics and, how you act outside of the classroom, how you work, how you act when you're at work and, things like that. So, that's why sports was a big part for me, and it taught me great life lessons. It taught me, you don't get what you want if you don't work hard for it, like I just kind of touched on. So that's why sports was a big part of my life.
Okay, so what is 3 adjectives that you would describe to yourself? Like, what do you think is the most big 3?
3 adjectives I would describe for myself is determined, going through different, things in life and wanting to reach your goals. I think that's, determination is a big one for me. The next one would be supportive. I think in this profession of being an athletic director, you support a lot of people. You support student athletes, you support coaches, you support officials, you support parents as well. So, you have to be very supportive when it comes to that. And the last one I would say for me is patience. When you deal with a lot of other people, especially kids, especially student athletes, you have to learn patience. And, that has helped me to, just be way more patient in life. And, people don't always move at your pace and things like that.
So what is your primary job as the athletic director?
Primary job. Okay, so it's one of many. Okay. So there's a ton of things you do. Like I said, there's a ton of people you deal with when you're an athletic director. But I say my primary job is to, make sure that the competition can happen so that like a player doesn't have to worry about, how they're getting to a game, or like the coach doesn't worry about, hey, we need this equipment. So I would say it's behind the scenes stuff. And, I would say the primary goal is to make sure that the competition can happen at the end of the day with, as easy as possible as it can be. That aside from the wins and losses and things of that nature, just making sure all the behind the scenes stuff, making sure I got workers, making sure we got food for kids after school, making sure, the coaches got all their equipment and everything just so they can go out and play the game.
So how do you define your success for athletes? Like, what do you think is the most important part?
I would say success for athletes, and dealing specifically with, younger high school student athletes, I would say building a complete person. That would be success for me. So that would be, learning how to carry yourself, learning how to handle adversity, learning how to put in the hard work to, obtain a goal. And, aside from wins and losses, everybody loses. You're not going to win everything. Right. But success for me is, building up a young adult to make sure that they are a complete person.
Okay, so what do you think, like, the goals for athletes should be? Like, in your opinion, what do you think the goal should be as an athlete?
Well, for younger athletes, I'm sure they're focused on, like, the wins and losses, right. But a goal for an athlete should be kind of what I said, like, learning how to work hard in whichever sport it may be. So, if you're a basketball player, knowing, like, in the off season, you got to work extremely hard. The off season is normally harder than the regular season. And, learning to put that work in to obtain the goal. And, being okay with the results. Like I said, nobody wins all the time. And I think, if you're, comfortable in yourself and, that you have put the work in and, you're okay, you might not always happen the way you want it to happen. But you can look back and say, you know what, I worked my hardest. The result isn't exactly what I wanted, but I'm okay with, what I did to try and get there. And then if you get another opportunity, you can try and do some different things to, reach that goal you got.
Okay, so what does your average day here at St. Martin look like? Like, what do you got to do? Like, what is on your to-do list when you come here?
So my average day here at St. Martin, let's say it's a game day, for instance. So I would come in, I would make sure I got all my workers for that day. So make sure I got a ticket operator, make sure I got a clock operator, a ticket taker, a clock operator, making sure I got officials set up, checking in with my coaches, seeing if it's anything they need, making sure I got food for athletes for when concession stand workers as well. Right. Making sure that, I got busing to, transport our student athletes to and from the game. Also making sure, just like all of that stuff is in place. The unique thing about St. Martin dealing with our corporate work study program is we have to also pick up our student athletes from their work and get them back here so they can ride the bus with the team. So that's, coming up with a transportation plan, contacting CWSP and letting them know that we're going to pick up these students. So then maybe like 1:32, I'm on the road. Right. All right, so I'm going to pick up student athletes and bring them back here to the school to make sure that they're on the bus to ride with their team. And just, trying to keep everybody together. That's why we have started to do that now. If it's a game day, heading over to the game, making sure that everything's in place. Making sure officials show up on time, making sure my concession stand workers have everything they need, making sure my ticket taker has the phone set up for hometown ticketing and also a money box if it's there. Making sure my clock operator is good. Making sure the coaches have everything, making sure we got a person to, record the book. Making sure our film is good for, so we can film the game and coaches can use it for, film the next day. So that would be a normal day. On a game day, outside of that, I could be meeting with an apparel person that wants to come in and give us gear for, our various sports teams and have sports-specific stuff. It could be me sitting down at my laptop, emailing X amount of schools, trying to set up a schedule for the next season, whether it's, say we're in basketball now, I'm setting up for baseball and softball and track outside of that. So there's a lot of different things. So I wouldn't say there's a typical day as an athletic director, but they're all different. And that's the thing I love about my job is that it's not the same day every single day. So
on days when everything is not set up correctly, like, how do you keep going through, like, with your day to make sure the stuff that is set up correctly is done?
Well, that's the good thing. That's the fast pace I like about it. because, if something's not in place, I got to think quick. Like, who can I call if I don't have a concession stand worker that day? Who can I find to work the concession stand? If somebody gets sick, who can I call, or if I have to do it myself? If we don't have a person to take the book, I have to step up and I'll take the book for the basketball team, So that's the fast pace, and that's the things that I like to get in order so that I can try and be as calm as it is. But, there's always days that happen like that.
Right. So what do you think is your greatest strengths as an athletic director?
My greatest strength, I would say, is just communication. And like I said, when you're working with athletes, you're working with parents, you're working with officials, you're working with a lot of different people, you have to be a great communicator. And that's just, making sure, hey, I need you here at this time. Are you available? Has anything come up? Let me know. If something does come up, I got to reach out to somebody else and make sure, they can step in. Or if I'm reaching out to another school, like, hey, can we schedule a game this day? Make sure we got the time, make sure we got the location, all of these things. So I think the greatest strength is to be a great communicator.
Okay, so besides communication, what have you learned while working as the athletic director?
The biggest thing I have learned, and I kind of touched on it before, is just patience. It's just patience, and dealing with young student athletes, it's hard sometimes to get y'all to move at a pace that I would like. But it has taught me patience, and understanding that, hey, this might be a rough day for somebody else, and you just got to take a step back, and you might have to ask them, like, hey, what's going on? Like, is everything all right? And just be a person at the end of the day, and say, hey, like, I need you to do this, but I'm gonna give you some extra time. Or if a school doesn't respond to me right when I want them to respond to me, trying to set up a game, shooting another email, following up, but also giving them some time, just because they might have a lot going on at their school, just like we have a lot going on here. So just learning that patience, I think, is the biggest thing I've learned.
Okay, so what is your vision for our students here at St. Martin? Like, what do you think the vision in sports and school, like academic wise, what is your vision for the students?
Well, I'll start, like you said, athletic wise, my vision is just to grow. We're a younger high school, and I just want athletics to grow, with numbers, with expansion, with doing things like taking trips. We got volleyball goes to Chicago every year. Our basketball team's going to Cincinnati this year. And just growing as an athletic program, and that means increasing numbers. We went from 8 last year in the girls basketball program to 28 this year, which is a huge thing. And hopefully we're about to have a brand new athletic facility that's going to be built here soon, and just growing athletically, and that's kind of my vision for athletics here at St. Martin. But also being hard on them about the academics, and kind of like I said, that through athletics, it teaches you life lessons. And when that comes with, just like in life, you have to do what you have to do, which to get where you want to get. Sorry about that. So, okay. So if you don't take care of your work in the classroom, your behavior's off, you're not going to be able to, play whichever sport that you might love. And, that's just like in life. If you don't, go out, get a job, how you going to eat? Right. You know what I'm saying? So, that's kind of my, my vision for, athletics and academics for, St. Martin.
So what are some of your favorite memories here? Like what has happened one day that you will always remember? Something fun.
Something fun?
Yeah, like something good that happened here.
Well, I'll say athletically, I love the trip to Chicago with the volleyball girls. After we get finished playing, we get to just have fun. Like, we get to go to Navy Pier in Chicago, and they get to go, get on the roller coasters, and they can see the mall and the different shops that they have in Chicago. And those are memories that I love to see for the girls to have. So. Okay,
so how do you determine when to hire or fire a coach for any sport? How do you determine that?
I guess with firing, that comes with just simple requirements and, evaluations that me and my department make when it comes for, firing a coach. And just if it's, if we're seeing it physically, and if we're getting some feedback from talking to like parents or players, and just what goes on, that's how we kind of determine when it's time to let a coach go. And then that will take us into our hiring process. And when it comes to hiring, obviously checking people's resumes, seeing where they come from, checking their backgrounds, bringing them in for interviews, kind of seeing what their coaching philosophies are, whether it it be I'm a player first guy, or I'm strict on my own coaching philosophy. So and seeing how they deal with relationships. I'm huge on if you don't build a relationship, how are you going to get through to a student athlete? So that's kind of the things I look for when it comes for firing and hiring a coach.
Okay, so tell me about your philosophy as a coach in terms of winning and the playing time, like the two. Yeah.
So my philosophy when it came to playing time and getting on the court was everything's earned in practice. So practice is the big part because it's every single day. And, as a coach, you can evaluate a player the best as you can if you see them every single day, at least for, 2 hours a day. And that will ultimately determine how much playing time you got, in different situations as a coach. Can I go to this player or as opposed to this other player? And things like that. So when it came to playing time and ultimately winning on the court, everything is earned in practice. So that's what I preach to my coaches now, that, and I trust them to make the decision because they're with the players more than, say, like I am, or more than their parents are that aren't at practice every day. And, I trust them to make that decision that, everything is earned in practice, and, playing time is earned, and, being on the court is, the big thing that comes with, being able to perform in practice, and, listening to your coach and how you're not throwing temper tantrums in practice because you end up doing it in the game. So, my philosophy when it comes to that is you have to earn it in practice.
Okay, so where do you see athletics for St. Martin in about 5 years?
Like I said, we're growing. And, as opposed to the wins and losses, throwing that all out the window, I just want this to be a place where student athletes can get a great experience. They know that when they come here, if a prospective student is looking to come to St. Martin, they know that, I know that I'm going to have the nicest gear, and I'm going to, be able to take a trip, and I'm going to, not have to worry about all the outside stuff. And I know that I'm going to have a good experience when I come to St. Martin. And, that's my goal for the future here in St. Martin, and that we can just grow everything. And also that they can try different sports. We're starting up a men's volleyball team this year. Like, I got flag football on my radar. I got wrestling on my radar. So, having that variety that, hey, I'm interested in this. All right, I can try it. And then, if I'm looking to go to St. Martin, okay, they got this for me, and I can, try it when I get to high school.
So can you talk a little bit about our current gym and that 5 years for the gym space? Talk about that too.
We're just kind of, and this is above me because it deals with, obviously bringing that money in to, be able to build. But, the conversations are happening. If we were to go outside, I could show you the space to where, the gym would potentially be built, and, the buildings that we have already purchased, the land that we have already purchased for it. But, that is the big goal here for the school is to, break ground on that, get that built, and it'll help just the school culture of, having something that's for us, and, not having to go to other schools to play our games. And it's going to help with everything, recruiting. And, when students come to here, they say, oh, man, they got a nice new gym. Right. We already got this nice brand new building. So in the future, and hopefully it's 5 years, that, we can have that, phase of, this complete St. Martin complete by, in 5 years. So.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for being on my show today, A.D. Crawford.
I appreciate it.
Okay. This is Genice's Gems for St. Martin Deporres and TV20. Until next time, remember, all gems are not made of stone, but of love.